I have this problem. So I'm a binger. So I fall in love with things
You're
really,
not having to
really,
tell me, man. Me
oh
too.
man, so easily. Like I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, but I talked to somebody who's like a logistics manager for a waste control company, and I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm going to school for supply chain because I'm going to be a logistic. No, no, I'm not. No, 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 no. But for that moment, because they're so into it, it's like I'm like falling in love with that, like their energy. I put together a list. I would say four things that four tips for meeting people. So joining a gym is a super easy one. Now, when Ty and I talk about a gym, we're not talking about LA or Planet Fitness usually, but you can join those gyms. And this is tip number two, being a regular, go to the same place at about the same time often. And that's one thing that you guys have in common immediately. We
Yeah.
both go to Wawa at 2 p.m. every day for a coffee and a hoagie, right? You guys have probably like a similar work schedule. Those people with similar work schedules typically have similar like lifestyles and similar careers even, because who's free at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday?
Every week.
Of course, of course. So that could also be going to, a coffee shop or a diner. And I think that more people are open to casual conversation than you think, even if you think it's a lot.
Yeah, everybody feels that way too. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody kind of, not everybody, but a lot of people kind of wouldn't mind somebody to come up and talk to them about something that they're interested in, right?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you're just sitting at the coffee shop,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to do that to somebody else.
Yeah, you want somebody to come say hi to you.
Yeah,
So be the person that you want to interact with you.
exactly. Yeah.
So then the other one is the cheap one that I feel like is gaining traction is an app. So there are apps for friend finders, and I'm not going to call out any specific ones, but there are hobby-based activities. So you pick where you live, you put in the things that you like to do, and they match you up in groups of people. And what's nice about those is they're typically group outings, so you don't feel the pressure of having to maintain a one-on-one conversation with somebody. And
Right.
having something to do aside from talking makes the system like or the whole thing low pressure.
Yes, 100%. I agree. I agree completely.
Yeah, you run out of things to say and then you just go back to it. So when there's drinking, people stop talking, you reach forward, you grab your drink, you put it down, you're like,
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the other activity.
right, right.
Exactly.
So then the last one I had is work on a hobby. So Ty already talked about how you could go about that. And this generally makes you interesting. Be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I Yeah, I agree 100%. Like if you tell me that you carve ice trees, you carve trees out of ice,
That's so cool.
like tell me more.
Yeah, who actually I need to know someone who carves trees out of ice because that's pretty nifty.
Yeah. Tell me more. I'd love to hear this. So the friends will come to you at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So if you are doing those things, then you'll probably start to find commonalities. What's even better is if you have one person who fits in multiple circles, because now you guys, if you match up on two things, might as well be best friends.
Might as well be best friends.
Get married, have a family. I don't know what happens, whatever. But one of the things that you can do is you can skip all of those be interesting pieces and you could be interested.
I I love it. I don't even know what else to say to that other than I love it. And you can actually tie it back actually to what we're talking about, leadership in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to derail this conversation, but one of the things, like two main styles of leadership, one is like being kind of the go-to, like, oh, what do we do? And then the other one being, I'm going to listen to what everybody else has to say and then
Yep.
make up a decision. So it's like, if you don't have anything to say, you just listen intently. It's kind of what you're getting at here.
Yep.
No, I
Yeah.
don't
So
carve the trees out of ice, but you tell me you do, I'm going to dive into that.
yeah, I want to know the more you know about a topic, the more interested I am in hearing you talk about it. So if you're fired up about, wheel sizes in commercial cars, that's super foreign to me and I know nothing about it. But if you're super into it, I'm going to be following along.
Try to anyways, right?
Yeah, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen to what you're saying.
Yeah. I think it is like a common theme I'm hearing here is one, like don't be afraid to just talk to new people randomly when you're out and about, just like even just saying, "Hey, hi, thank you, please." Like you sounds simple. A lot of people don't say that shit.
Yeah.
When you're in the grocery store, for example, you know how many times this happens all the time. You walk by somebody who might have been like blatantly in your way, but it's not a big deal, but they're just in your way. And so you have to go around them. But neither one of you say a single word or even look at each other.
And you're both probably mad.
Yeah. But you don't even look at each other.
Yeah.
Like you could say anything, but just making some sort of small talk.
Yeah. Yeah. Small talk is cool. So, like, on my notes, I had being interesting is helpful or be interested.
Like
And
it.
then I had gratitude because I think that a lot of people, this goes along with your people don't think that they have hobbies. You should look kind of at yourself and realize that you're a cool person. Be thankful for the experiences that you have. And there's someone who is interested. There are multiple someones who are interested in the things that you've done, even if you do nothing else.
I agree. Because I think most of us, you talk about being interesting, and that's a great, if you want to have friends, be the most interesting man in the world, right? Be that guy from the commercials. He
Yeah.
probably has a lot of fake friends though, too, at the same
Yeah.
time. But a reason he's the most interesting man in the world and did all these crazy things is because nobody else did, and most people didn't, and most people
Yeah.
feel exactly the way you feel and don't have anything interesting about them in their own eyes. So you have more in common with people than you think.
Yeah. Everyone's the most interesting person, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I have this problem. So I'm a binger. So I fall in love with things
You're
really,
not having to
really,
tell me, man. Me
oh
too.
man, so easily. Like I don't know what I want to do when I grow up, but I talk to somebody who's like a logistics manager for a waste control company, and I'm like, you know what? That's it. I'm going to school for supply chain because I'm going to be a logistic. No, no, I'm not. No, 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 no. But for that moment, because they're so into it, it's like I'm like falling in love with that, like their energy
Yeah.
and their passion and their interest. And that's a problem for me.
Yeah. I almost had the same exact problem. I went to this, it was a warehouse. It was for I think it was Zulily, a warehouse for Zulily. I don't know if you ever heard of Zulily. They're like an e-commerce site, but it
Mm-hmm.
was just like a tour of the warehouse. And it was so huge and fascinating, so many moving parts, and the people in charge are like conducting this whole ship and everything, and a supply chain logistics and all that. And they were just so into it.
Yeah.
I was legit like, yo, this is it. This is what I'm doing. These guys are so into it. They look like they're having a blast. They're in control of this massive warehouse that's like crazy. I was like, this is it. This is the calling.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that as long as you have something stable in your life on the back burner.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that could be they're probably doing really well right now.
Well, I mean, for us, like I fall in love with something new every 2 weeks, every time there's
Yeah,
a new discovery, and I have my defaults. So that's why it's kind of good that I have a job. Someone who requires me to go to a certain place at a certain time.
100%. I think I'm finally getting to that point in my life, maturity wise, where I'm like, okay, I have like a default, like you said. Uh, I can do hobbies outside of that, and maybe they will mold into something, and maybe they
Or
won't.
not.
But at least I'm not going to like throw my life away every 2 weeks trying to start over on something new.
Well, when you go to your partner and you say, hey, I have an idea, but it's going to cost $48,000. They get to talk you down from that idea.
Yeah.
It's stalling. All they have to do is stall for 10 days.
Yeah. If you
And
still
then,
want it after that, like, okay, let's
yeah,
get,
let's give it a shot.
yeah.
Another pro tip I had is that when you meet somebody and you have an interaction, the follow up is super important.
Yeah.
So I have this app on my phone that lets me schedule a text message. And I used to use it for work to check back in on people. You know, hey, how's it going? It's been a week. Like, what can I do for you? But imagine if Ty and I have this conversation, and he tells me, you know, in 2 weeks I'm moving. Well, I'm not going to remember in 2 weeks to send him a text. So as soon as we get off, I'm going to say, hey, dude, how was the move? And I'm going to set it for 2 weeks and 1 day from now.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh man, he remembered like the exact day that I'm moving. Like, that's pretty cool.
You realize no one is ever going to take any of your texts seriously now
Just you.
because everybody listens to this.
Everybody.